If the name Acoustics isn't a familiar one to you, then you don't need to feel embarrassed. Acoustics were formed in only 2006 and have reputedly been making some rather capable budget speakers.
I'm at JG Windows Music Shop in Newcastle, where I work. I've recently had the last few months to get kind of intimate with the Acoustic Concept 20 speakers. I kind of like them.
Let's first talk numbers. The Concept 20 speakers come in at an RRP of £379 and the corresponding stands at £220.
Yeah, that's right, £220 for a pair of stands. More on that later.
Internally, these speakers are constructed from 2 layers of MDF, something they call gel core cabinet construction, after the resonance and vibration killing gel core in between those 2 layers. On the front we see a 125mm woofer and a 25mm tweeter. The frequency response is rated at between 64Hz and 22kHz, with a rated sensitivity of 86 decibels, and the Concept 20s are designed to handle between 25 and 75 watts of power. Moving on to the physical attributes, the Concept 20s come in 2 high gloss finishes, both black and white.
While I'm not sure if I'd ever have white speakers in my own living room, I've been playing around a little bit with the Concept 40 speakers, and in that white finish they do look absolutely gorgeous.
The finish itself is hardy, resists scratches and looks brilliant, but as with any high gloss finish, if you buy them in black, keep your grubby mitts away or you will be cleaning them constantly. Acoustics managed to pack a whole lot of speaker into a rather small package, and each cabinet measures in at 265mm in height, 282mm in depth and 170mm wide, and that signature curved design makes them appear even smaller.
Speaking of which, what do you think of Acoustics aesthetics? While personally I love how those curves look on the floor standers, I'm not a huge fan of that design language on the bookshelf speakers, but apparently from what I've found I'm in the minority with that because most people seem to really dig them.
That same design English transposes onto the Concept 20 speaker stands as well, and in some ways I think the speaker stands kind of outdo the actual speakers themselves. Those glass legs give a kind of retro futuristic rocket ship appearance and truly unique aesthetic, which ensures that they look basically amazing anywhere you put them. They weigh in at 6kg each and have a height of 655mm excluding the optional carpet spikes. A simple recess is built into the back of the speaker stands for cable management with a removable crossbar to keep those cables in place. One thing that I really don't get about these speakers is the strangely designed crossover that just doesn't seem thought out. The terminals themselves are good quality, but the strange little bar that gets in the way of your speaker cables is just an odd design choice, especially when Acoustics' less expensive speakers seem to do this better and less awkwardly and cumbersome. Similarly, because of that crossover, banana plugs don't seem to stay in right and actually pop out with a light tug. For most people, this probably won't affect them that much, but working in a shop where we sell them and have to plug them in and unplug them all the time, it really became quite a pain.
Let's talk a little bit about how these speakers sound then. Now, I mentioned earlier that these speakers cost £379 by themselves and $599 with the stands. Now, a few years ago, getting this amount of speaker for that amount of money would have been absolutely unthinkable, but in 2016, the tables have turned and the competition is much more fierce than it used to be.
Happily for Acoustics, that competition only seems to have pushed them to construct a superior speaker. The overall tonality from the Concept 20s is even-handed, balanced and very, very easy to get on with. You aren't going to experience the kind of wash over you, glue you to the wall effect that is a hallmark of larger speakers with greater low-end capability. But for those of us who don't have massive rooms and would prefer a degree of delicacy over brute force, there's little to complain about. The sound is tight and it's powerful.
Furthermore, there are no issues of the low end getting muddled, except in the most complex low end passages, where it takes considerably more expensive speakers to usually excel. What's striking about the Concept 20s in this price range especially is their ability to seamlessly bond all the elements of bass, mid-range and treble together while still offering a degree of clarity and separation.
The same could be said for the overall soundstage. Not only is it surprisingly wide for such diminutive speakers, there's a convincing oneness to the overall imaging and instrument placement. Everything just kinda sounds like it's in the right place. Many speakers in a similar price range fail to get all the different pieces of that jigsaw puzzle right in the same place, and typically something sounds either uncomfortably prominent or kind of depreciated in the mix.
If I was to describe the Acoustic speakers in one cliche catch-all phrase, I would definitely call them just brilliant all-rounders. They can do a little bit of everything and they can do it really damn well.
John Williams' Empire Strikes Back soundtrack sounded massive. The timpanis and low end comfortably knocking your back into your seat, while the delicate woodwind, typical of Williams' arrangements, were agile and beautiful, and at no point did they ever sound shrill or edgy.
Fleetwood Mac's Rumours sounded gorgeous, which is impressive, because I'm so sick of that album. The acoustic guitars were pristine, and the separation and imaging showed off just how precise these speakers can be.
Blasting Amorphous' excellent latest album, From a Red Sky, showed these speakers capable of laying down some power when need be. But as previously mentioned, in the most complex and cluttered low-end passages, the Concept 20s just couldn't quite keep up 100%, and that's kind of not really surprising. Music with a bit more open low-end, like Bonobo's down-tempo Black Sands, had none of that same trouble, and it sounded really lush, warm and relaxing. Last but maybe not least, I should probably talk about those speaker stands.
Yeah, £220 for a pair of stands is expensive, but yes, they do make a difference, and yes, it is really noticeable. Frankly, I don't entirely think that £220 is reasonable for speakers in this kind of price range, but when you factor in that overall they only come to £599, it's still a really good value proposition, and the speakers still sound perfect at that kind of price range. At $379, they're an absolute steal. Okay, so I'll admit, there are speakers in this kind of price range that will do individual things better. There are better speakers for rock, there are better speakers for jazz, there are better speakers for classical music, but I don't think many that'll do everything quite as good as these. So mega points to Q Acoustics for that achievement. So what do you think of the Q Acoustic Concept 20 bookshelf speakers? If you like them, then tell me in the comments down below and give me a like if you do. If you think that £220 is way too expensive for a pair of speaker stands, then click the subscribe button to then see more speakers in the future that you might like. If you want to learn a little bit about turntables, then click down here to watch my latest video on direct drive turntables versus belt driven turntables. If you want to see my top 5 turntables video of 2016, click up here. If you've been playing anything good recently or you want to show me your awesome setup, hashtag me at RockMeLlamadeus down there, and I will post it up in a video at some point soon when I've worked out how I'm going to do that. If you want to buy these speakers, then you should come to this very shop, JG Windows Music Shop in Newcastle, or if you're not passing by the Northeast anytime soon, go to our website at www.jgwindows.com. Make sure to check me out on social media on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the links down below. I hope you have an awesome week, month, day, year, millennium. Bye.